You don't remember?
Hello.
Your problem.
First.
Start with that.
Ah,
Learn
sir.
about business models, right?
First. Okay.
So what needs to be captured in a business model? Code, right? Then comes your first one. Solutions to the problems. Right? What else in a business model?
చూస్తుంది
Design thinking. Is that what you said? Or did I say that? What did you say? Design thinking.
Like how might we overcome the problems in what ways?
In what ways?
Finding alternate solutions.
Okay. Meaning you look at existing solutions, find out what they are unable to resolve, and find alternatives to them. Right? Did you do any assignment? Last session? Yes or no? Okay, I want one of these here, yes or no? I want that from everybody. This is like fifth session, you guys are still not talking back. This is one of those sessions where we want you to talk back. I know your instructors, your family probably said no talking back, but here we want you to talk back. It's got to be interactive, it can be a class, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
I still don't get anything from this side. Yes? Yes?
Yes, sir.
ఒక్కొక్కరు అడిగినా మరి రావే yesterday? Okay, so what are we doing talking today? Mock test. What is mock test? What is mock test? What do you think it is? Huh? Any ideas? No? See, of all the family members, who listen to all nonsense that you talk? Mom, right? She is very, very patient in hearing everything that you talk. Right? There is no talking back there. She'll listen. That is the role that we want you to guys to take. When you talk to customers, you talk about their problems. You don't give them solution. You don't ask them solution. What they are feeling. How are you doing? What is the problem that you have? What is the problem with the existing solution that we have? That's the reason that this is a mock test in practice. So what we'll cover today, we'll look at interviews essential, right? Why most interviews fail? Why do you think they fail? Or do you think they are always successful? Huh? No? The comfortable lies we tell ourselves. So in an interview, nobody is truthful, right?
Interview itself meaning,
They're questioning you, they're judging you in the context that we always make for ourselves, right? We always end up telling things that are untrue. So you got to plan for that. So how do you make interviews more truthful? You have to put the other person at ease, right? There's no exam here. You're just talking about what you are feeling, right? So the mock test is rules for conversation that reveal the truth. Good versus bad questions. There are always those, right? If you ask somebody a leading question, then you're not giving much room to be truthful. Hey, this solution is not good, right? If that's your question, that's a leading question, right? You already made up your mind saying that that's a bad solution. So you're asking the customer, hey, is this not bad for the solution? So even if the customer felt that it is good in some aspect, because he's been asked a question that it's a bad one, he's going to agree with you. Who do you talk to? Where do you find your first customer? Right? So what is the context of customer here? Who do you interview? Who's your customer?
One who is suffering with the problem.
Huh?
One who is suffering.
The one who is facing the problem, right? How do you find them? Where do you find customers? How do you reach them? So that's your assignment before Thursday. 5 real conversations. This is program 5, program 6 is Thursday, right? You want you guys to have at least 5 real conversations with potential customers. Pick any problem that you find in the society, talk to 5 customers who are facing that problem. Okay? So let's look at each one of those things. Why most interviews fail? What we usually end up doing? Would you buy this if you build this? That's super low. Right? You're not giving him a solution here. You want to find out the problem that he has. Right? Ask about opinion. Do you think this is a good idea? What happens? He will either say yes or he will say no. Either way, you're done. In the sense, you're not getting real data. How is that going to help you out? Is this a good idea? You're not finding anything about his problems, right? You're just asking him to rate a solution. So you end up with a rating of a solution, but not an understanding of the problem. Lead the business. This is what I was talking about, loaded questions, right? Doesn't this problem bother you? You're kind of forcing him to answer that question that it bothers you. Questions can be very, very tricky. Most people have a natural tendency to agree with the other person. There are some people who disagree with everything you say. But most people tend to agree because they want the conversation to be smooth. Now, if you ask somebody, hey, don't you face this problem? 95%, if not 99% will say, yes, I have this problem. And that is why influencers are making big money. Right? People don't form their own opinion. They listen to the influencers. Yes, he says we have this problem. Yeah, this is a great product. Right? Original thinking is lost because of influencers. And that is how the society is. 95% people will just agree with you. So having that in mind, if you go and ask them, does this problem bother you? They'll say, yes, it will bother me. Now that doesn't mean that they'll buy it if you say this is a good product. They are very smart. When it comes to spending money, they won't say, yeah, this is a good solution. I want to buy it. Right? Seek validation. So you use this right. Again, that's loading. You're forcing him to accept something. You're not giving him a choice. He may say yes. But then when you go and try to sell him the product, he'll say, no, I don't know. This is not solving the problem. Or he'll say, no, I can't. A very simple answer, I can't afford it. End of the day, you don't know what the problem is, you got all the wrong data, and after the launch you'll see that that guy is not interested in buying your product. Okay? So, talk about their life, not your idea. This is what mom does, right? She wants to hear the whole story, not specific, situations. You're not feeling good. Why did you end up not feeling good? That's the conversation. Then they open up, right? Ask about past behaviors, real experiences. You never pitch. You're always listening and learning. You want to strike a conversation, not get an answer. Because a conversation gives you context to the problem that they're facing. They'll explain their experiences versus giving you a short answer. A short answer is not necessarily right answer. Because they would choose on what to share with you. And I'm sure that every one of us, when we have to choose, we may not say the best thing that is probably true for the context. We end up saying the easiest thing, right? So a conversation starter would be, walk me through the last time you dealt with this problem, right? When did you last have this problem? In what situations do you have this problem? How many times do you have this problem? Those are the conversations that you want to encourage. Meaning you become a listener. You ask one question to start the conversation and then add to the conversation, making sure you don't give in your biases. You just want the other person to keep talking. So that's the rule number one. Ask about specifics, not generalities. So when the conversation is happening, you want to capture data, right? Data in terms of when you have it, how many times does it happen, how much does it actually hurt you last month, last week, last year, whatever it is. Okay? We don't want general, is this very expensive, this issue? You just want to quantify it. Why do you want to quantify it? Because that gives you an indication of what he is losing. So if you come up with a product that saves him that money or costs less than what he's losing, then you have a market, right? That's why we want specifics, not generalities saying, yeah, it hurts me. How much does it hurt you? You want to quantify, right? So general opinions are worthless, specific memories are gold. So you want to, take the conversation to a point where they explain what happened in the last time that they faced the problem. So when you have more context, even if they can't generally give, even if they can't give you specifics in terms of how much it costs and all that, you can estimate. Because not everybody is, actually everybody is like you. You don't talk, right? I got to ask you 100 questions for me to get one thing out of your mouth, right? So you want to give them more context, give them more questions so they talk about their experiences. And from those recorded responses, you can probably get an estimate. Listen more than we talk. That's a great thing. But if we have people like this, we have to talk. Get to a point where you are comfortable and you start talking. That's the trick, right? So it is not for everybody, it is not for you to go practice. If you don't say talk, I'll listen, then you will end up talking like this. You look at each other and say, move on, okay. So there won't be an interview, you won't have any data. So this doesn't apply to you straight off. It applies to you when the customer is talking, you stay silent. So obviously, the bad question is leads the witness, right? The good is opens the past. So we talked about several times about this, right? You won't be able to see anything from there. Maybe is it fair here? Again. The best way is to talk about what their experiences. Don't say like, hey, when you were growing up, did you have this issue? Let him talk about his experiences. Would you use an app that helps you track your assignments? Versus Tell me about how you currently keep track of your assignments. For 99% of people, this is an easy answer question, right? You would want to ask somebody this question because it is easy to ask and you get a response and then you can run away. But then that will lead to bad interpretations. If he says no, does it mean that the problem doesn't exist? Right? This problem will continue to exist. And you would record saying that he doesn't have problem because he doesn't know to use this app. So this is a better conversation. So just tell me about how you currently keep track of your assignments. It's actually an easy conversation for the other person. Now the other person is somebody who is reluctant to know. That is also a possibility. The customer won't open up. Then it is for you to see, okay, he's not opening up. Maybe he doesn't use anything. Maybe he's smart, he remembers everything. So you pose your follow-up questions. Do you find it frustrating that there are no good tools for this? You're already assuming there are no good tools for it. Maybe he's using something that you never came across. Right? If he's a strong guy, he says, what are you talking? What nonsense? I got a very good tool. Then that's an eye-opener for you. But then those are rare instances. What have you tried so far? So if the guy says what tools you're using and he shows up a blank page, then you ask the next one, what have you tried so far? What worked, what did? Now if the guy never used anything, he won't answer even this. How much would you pay for a solution to this problem? You're jumping too fast, right? How much did it cost you in time or money last time? So this is a question, maybe the guy who doesn't use any tools might answer or may not answer. I'm not using any tools. Yeah, I lost a few assignments because I didn't keep track of it. But the guy said, I kept track of all this. He may be lying. Or he may be saying, he may be a super brilliant guy that he keeps track of everything and he has a built-in clock of reminders and all that. If we build this, would you sign up? Now these are bad set of questions when you're discovering the problem and then finding a solution. These may be good questions when you go for an MVP or where you want people to use your problem and use a solution and then give you an opinion, but not discover the problems. Okay? A better question would be, have you ever paid for something to solve? So if you said I used some tools, then you want to find out how much did he end up paying. Now if you answer this question, you would know whether he's paying more than what it's costing or less than what it's costing in terms of time and money. That's a very important distinction. Because if it's paying more than what it's costing, then he may not be sticking to it. Someday he decide that, hey, it cost me less if I don't use a tool versus if I use a tool. But then it's not a single instance, right? It is happening continuously. Okay, let's do this. Can we do this? You're smiling. Why even this is difficult? Work in pairs. One person plays the entrepreneur, the other person plays the potential customer for their problem areas. Okay, worksheets print చేశారు కదా? Fast, pair up. Okay, I'm not going to give you much time, I want you guys to quickly raise your hand. Pair one. Raise your hand. Two hands. Pair one. Okay? Pair two. Pair three. 4. Okay, 5. That's it, 4, huh? 5. Okay, 6. 6. 7. Just 6 people, no? What about the people who haven't raised their hands? How many people who haven't raised their hands? That's it? So it's an even number. I believe even numbers can end up in pairs. You guys don't want to participate, right? You are the coordinators. You don't get to participate. So can 4 people form 2 pairs? You know, a big math problem. Okay. 2 more people left. Can that be a pair? Okay. Start working. Pick a paper. Start working on this. I'll start the clock. So that's going to be a long distance thing. So you're going to focus on who's going to move now? We got 8 teams. So first figure out which one of you will be an entrepreneur. Okay, I need hands for 8 entrepreneurs. Lift hands. I got to see 8 people lifting hands. I only have 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? I thought I had 8 teams. So we got you. You're going to entrepreneur. You're going to entrepreneur. You're going to entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. So you're going to question the customer. What? You don't want any pen, paper, anything to record on it? Yeah. You know, already conversation started. What are you talking about? What questions are you asking? So entrepreneur is going to decide on a problem that they have come across. Okay? The customer doesn't know yet what problem he has. But they will answer honestly, give specific, believable responses. Don't go all sci-fi. I mean, you can go sci-fi actually. And if you think they are asking you any leading or bad question, make a note. Next time when you switch roles, the other person will make a note. So entrepreneurs, did you pick a problem in your mind? Make sure you know the problem that you pick, there's a reasonable assumption that the customer is aware of it too. Right? If you pick a problem that the customer is completely unaware, that's the wrong pairing.
Last time
The customer can also use the time to, think about a problem that they want to ask when they switch roles. Everybody has a problem statement that they can start the interview with? Yes or no, guys? How many yes? You need more time? Are you ready to start or do you need more time? Okay, guys, by the way, we're not discussing the problem with the actor, right? The customer, right? Ready to start? All of you take their phone, right? Everybody. Everybody got access to LLM tools, right?
పైకి పెట్టు
Find the cause of it.
ఆ బ్రిక్
You just gotta give it the context. You're racking your brain on finding a problem.
కనిపిస్తుంది.
did.
You working, just record your response. Your problem, you have a problem, you ask, assuming that the customer has a problem, you have to. Guys, are you ready? Okay, I'm gonna give you guys an hard stop in another 5 minutes, okay? We're gonna start this in 5 minutes. Okay, let's get started. The first entrepreneur is going to start questioning their customer. Everybody ready with their columns? Entrepreneur 1. Yes or no? Hello, Pragar, yes or no? I need to get 8 yes. At least hands. It's difficult for you to talk. Guys, hands, 8 hands. I only have 4. How about you guys? Nobody wants to raise their hand? Who's the answer 1? I got you. I'm talking about 3 more teams. I got you. Even if SL process ready and ready, okay? How about you guys? Ready with your problem statement? Guys, I'm right behind you. I need an answer from you. Are you ready? So you're going to go first? How about the 2 of you? Not ready? Huh? You're ready? Okay, raise your hand. That's what I've been screaming for. Alright, we get 7 minutes. Get started. Start your questions. Write down the response. That's it, you flip. Okay, done. More than 7 minutes up. So you have your questions and responses recorded, right? Now you want to flip? Flip the roles. Another 7 minutes. Then we take a break. Then we discuss your questions and responses. break, we meet in 15 minutes, then we start discussing, okay? person in front of you. What was the problem?
That's regarding artists in the marketplace.
They should be confused.
So it's regarding how artists will find a good marketplace because of intermediate artists and how customers can't find good trustworthy artisans to make customers' products or their preferred things.
His responses to your questions.
So what type of craft does he make? And is it
So that's the question.
first we need to know about the type of craft they make.
Let us start with this conversation.
For an artist.
So he is an artisan. He is not a buyer.
First, I want to find them so that we can find a customer.
Entrepreneur is trying to address the issue of the artisan who wants to sell his products through e-commerce. Sell his
That's fine.
art through e-commerce.
Yeah.
And the conversation started with knowing about the artisan and what he does.
So what came out of it?
So,
I wrote it.
the artisan works, he does wooden work. He sculpts wood into pillar structures or those Indian big doors. And he also like a side business or secondary business.
Yeah, but that's what you do. So what are your issues in selling your product? That should be the next question.
Yes, because the intermediaries are paying level profits, as he mentioned. It's been paid. So the next was, does he use a mobile phone or is he okay using a smartphone?
Okay.
Has he ever tried selling it in online websites like Insta or any e-commerce website? And does it go is only through the local market and only through the intermediaries? Just like if there was any website or something which was easy to use, would you like to give it a go and sell your product?
Okay. Good. That was good. What was your problem?
I wanted to address the problem of vendors in railways
Vendors and railways.
who use like they are used to carrying those metal containers with their hands on the top of it. And I want to make something about maybe backpack or
That's a solution.
That's a solution.
Questions?
The questions I have asked you. First I asked about the business they are making, like how much they carry, and if
So what was the response?
so for example, let's say they carry
Let it do the response.
the response is they carry a bucket which contains 60 samosas a day, and they travel to 3 stations. And after 2-3 stations, they have a refill setup there. So their thinking is by the time they reach the 2-3 stations, their product is getting sold, and they pick up the refill. And this is how the conversation started. And afterwards, I got to know about the how much they're making it is, and what does it cost for the equipment, like the steel, the aluminum containers, and the refill baskets they are carrying, and who do
What basket?
they usually the refills they kept 2-3 stations a day. They are usually keep it in a page those big packets or boxes, and they just cover it with a newspaper. So and someone looks after it. So I wanted to know about how much they make and how much it costs per equipment, which is very less, somewhere around 200 to 50. And then the follow-up was, if they suffer with any kind of body abnormalities or body fatigue or body-based issues, because they have been doing this business for 5 years or more than 5 years, and because of carrying these things on their head or shoulders, they must have something they support with. So I got to know about that.
So here's an interesting thing, right? Let's use this as a point for discussion. You guys heard what he was talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes? No? You guys? Have you heard what he's talking about? No, right? Why you thought this was a separate discussion? How would you guys? You heard? What did you hear?
We are talking about the difficulties faced by the artificial
Yeah?
artificials.
No, that was the first problem. The second problem. This is what happens if you're not loud, right? So he's talking about the problems faced by railway vendors, the ones that travel in the train. Okay? Unorganized, disorganized, whatever. So the problem he picked is actually the equipment or the containers that they carry and the ill effect on their body posture or whatever, right? So I think an interesting thing that would have come up in that conversation is they don't care what they're carrying whether they have problems. Their objective is to sell meaning, right? That's the natural thing that will come out in the conversation. You're trying to solve their body aches or problems, but then every entrepreneur is there to make money. The body aches and problems are not going to be solved, are not primary for them. They got another fix. They go back home, use some pain balm or take a hot bath and it's done. And these guys are probably in good health in terms of physique and whatever. They can carry them. That's the reason that they have been able to do that distance. So even though he's asking questions about how much does it weigh and how many times you change the supply and all that, if you have been a good actor, you would have told, I don't care about all this. I want to sell more. Right? So those are the conversations that will come up in an interview. You're trying to solve a different problem, but they have a different problem. Their problem is, how do I maximize my revenue? Right? I wanted to make a point. I know it's not necessary, but anybody else wants to talk about their problem? Volunteer on that. Huh? You got to pick? I'll pick the new.
Patients with regular medications will went out of unavailability of the medications.
Patients with what?
Regular medications, sir. Will go through some out of stock or unavailability of the medicine.
Okay.
That was the shortage.
So what were your questions?
Do you or your family members go through any regular medications? His response was his grandma was going through some diabetes, so he used some diabetes.
Our problem statement is that decision making. For example, if we go at night and we just go reading the right on whatever, we take at 11 after 11 a.m. We are so indecisive to order something. Because I mean, as an entrepreneur, I have the question like, what are the problems we face? Her answer was lack of, too many options. Too many options.
I narrowed it down to some particular field, too many options of what, food or?
Too many options of foods.
Food,
Like
so you're talking about food.
Yes, sir. People are hungry. Like there are too many options. Like you can't select at least one. You see one food item, you want to eat that. Now 5 minutes you see another food item and you want to eat that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite difficult to handle those emotions and all, and that people I asked the question that what are the things that are going to run in your mind when you open that? So the answer was like, what is the thing that is making you stop from ordering food? are those like the time duration, it takes at least 40 to 50 minutes at late nights. The taxes, the convenience fee, the lateness of service, it was 100, and also the question was how long is scroll?
Does it?
How long does you scroll?
Okay.
For about at least 30 minutes to 1 hour. Said like sir, in daytime this might be a little down, but after like even sir, not just her, even me at night, at least if I want to order something, I mean there are only limited options. At least, for example, if I want to eat a pizza, I might get a suggestion for burger. I might get a suggestion for biryani. I totally get confused. And the most important thing is also the time duration tax and the convenience.
No, but guys, even in fiction, where you're playing an actor role and all that, food item that will be delivered in 30 minutes, you spend 30 to 1 hour just picking.
So that is the problem right here. Like probably this problem is much lesser in daytime, but it is too high in night time.
When the choices are low.
But no sir, sir, who said? I mean, it's not like the choices are low. Only the thing is, the choices in the morning
Are actually higher.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Your options are lower in the night.
It's because even it's all about our mindset too. It's not me and only this girl who's facing this problem. Even in my home, and when we meet our friends and whatever. Yesterday I went to a function, so where we take the early morning session. We were looking for food. One was
No, let's not go on. Let's find out what are the responses are to you.
I even asked her, I never tried to fix things. She probably said no, I didn't have a solution for it. She just told me that she's going to have a ready-made instant recipe. So that will be the go-to meal at that time.
Then she gave you a solution.
No, she didn't give me a solution, but she did express her thoughts.
Okay. But sounds great. Enthusiasm without specifics. Meaning they say, yeah, we have this problem, and they are unable to give you specific. Then you know that guy is just an actor. Right? Not a true customer. Now, if somebody says, I would definitely use it, this is a future thing. It costs them nothing to say those words, but it will cost you everything, because if you go on a path and make a solution, he says, I don't care. Everyone has this problem, so this is what get to hear when you follow a lot of influencers. Too broad to act on, asking for a specific time that they have experienced. You got to make sure when your customer is giving you some data, it is from his personal experience and not from somebody else's experiences. Somebody else's experience, you got to talk to that somebody, not to this person. Right? These are the things that you need to watch out to make sure that the data you're collecting are true and not role play data, which is what happened here. So after role play, which is what you guys have done, what was the hardest part of not mentioning your idea? So there's a tendency to come up and discuss your solution, right? So some of you I already stopped because they were talking about their solution. So that's a big tendency for an entrepreneur. When they hear a problem which is validating that their interpretation of problem, it is very easy to say, hey, my solution is this. Do you want to try this? Or the first session I had with you guys, we talked about a word called confirmation bias. You guys remember that? Confirmation bias. So that is also a very important thing to consider when you're questioning somebody. Confirmation bias is, The guy is answering your questions, giving you some data points. But you are only listening to the data that is supporting your view, and you are ignoring everything else. He may be saying that, yes, I have a huge stick problem, and that confirms his interpretation that I need to develop a solution for garbage pickup service. But that person is also saying that it only happens once a week. So they'll ignore the data of once a week and go with the data that they have a stick problem. So that's the confirmation bias. You're only picking data that is, supporting the information that you already think is true, and ignoring the others, which is the frequency of once a week. Now, if he goes and builds a garbage pickup service, and that customer is saying, once a week, what the heck? I don't care. I'm not going to pay you money for an alternate service. Then your whole solution is going to fall flat. Right? Because you work with a confirmation bias. So keep that in mind. When you're interviewing your customers, don't let confirmation bias creep in. Or the other way of putting it is, you give them your solution. What surprised you most in customer responses? Anybody wants to volunteer what you guys found? Where did their reality differ from your assumption? Hypothetically, if you pick up that samosa or a trained vendor, he was talking about their problems, their physical problems. And if that guy says, I want to sell more, then his assumption is different. Their reality is different. Right? That's an example of that. So he's trying to solve one problem based on his assumption, whereas in reality they have a different problem. Okay? Do you catch yourself asking a leading question? Which is what she almost went. She's trying to see if solution exists for her 4 to 6 hours. Okay? What's one thing you want to find out from a real conversation? Something you are genuinely uncertain about, not something that you want confirmed. That says it all. You have to go into the question session with an open mind, not with an assumption. You want to find out something that you are unaware of. That should be the goal of it. If you think you know everything about the problem, then your questions will never lead to the unanswered or the unknowns, right? So that's another thing that you got to keep in your mind. The whole purpose of that interview is to know something that you don't know. It is not the approach to get confirmation of your assumptions. That's a later process. First and foremost, you need to learn something that you do not know about the problem. Okay? So this is what we want you guys to do before Thursday. You had an exercise of hypothetical situation, but next time when you talk to actual 5 real customers who have been facing a problem that you think exists in the society, have real conversations. This is only supposed to prepare you for that real conversations. Reach out to 5 people. Okay? Aim for real users of your problem space, not friends who will be nice. So don't do a role play again. Get 5 genuine, people who will answer your questions. Okay? Give yourself 10 to 15 minutes with each person. Only then you will really, get the context, right? Follow the mock test rules. What are they? Listening. No pitching your solution. Okay? Past behavior only. What they experience. Don't rather than opinions of what they will do in the future. You only want confirmed experiences. Okay, specifics, numbers, data, not generals. Record exact words. It is very important that you record the conversation or use their exact words, because once you hear it, you may interpret as something that is closer to what your thoughts are. So when you start talking to your customers, potential customers, your questions are not impromptu. You should have a set questions, 5, 6, 7, whatever numbers, right? You don't go there and then, think of questions. What you do on the field is, if their response to one question takes you in a different direction, which is interesting, then go with that direction. Post follow-up questions. You remember the first session we talked about 5 whys, right? That's an interesting thing to use. If they're going in a direction that is interesting for you guys, you want to find out more, the simple follow-up is why. But don't irritate them by saying why. After 2 whys, they'll say, I'm going. Right? So you gotta have interview note sheet. Best is use your smartphone, record the entire conversation. Be nice, tell them you're going to record it, and then go back and write notes from your conversations. Okay? But it is important to have a piece of paper too, because if something is interesting, you make a note of it right there. So when you have a follow-up question, you look at that note and say, hey, this is something that I never thought I'll hear from you. So you want to dig further, then that's the reason why you should have a notepad too, even though you're recording the conversations. Okay, all these things, the next session, we're going to find out from each one of you on how the conversations went. Okay, we'll debrief. Certainly we want to see what you figured in terms of what you didn't expect, what you heard from the customers. Where did the reality differ from your assumption? If this happens, you've done a great job. So you want to find customers where you hear what you didn't expect. That's actually a very good thing to have. Okay, so these are the sheets you want to pass. You got extras or? So these are again pointers for you when you go have those real conversations with your 5 customers. So good versus bad questions, we already seen a few examples. Make sure the questions that you're asking when you write down here, this is just to help you remember what's a bad question. You write the actual question that about the problem statement that you're going after here. Okay? Design your interview guide. Write down the 5 questions in the next one. Part B. They should pass the mock test, which is you're not making any assumptions. You're going to ask questions that will start the conversations about a problem statement that you are trying to find more information about. Okay. Part C is identifying your first customer. Who's your first customer? The one who is facing the problem the most. How would you go find them? How would you segment your customer? That's the strategy that you want to write down here. Are you going to go to apartment complexes? Are you going to go to a community of some sort? Are you going to find the morning walkers or the gym users? Any of that, depending upon the problem that you have. Okay? So this is the log that we want to see. Thursday. Interview role context. Most surprising thing they said, key insight or shift from each of your 5 customers. You know, after you have a conversation of 10 to 15 minutes, we want you to summarize that conversation in this table format. Not exactly this table format, but make sure you have these key elements. Okay? This is what we'll discuss in the beginning of the next session. This sheets will give you that. So output 2 is refined or pivoted problem statement. So based on what you hear from your conversations with your customers, are you going forward with your problem statement? Are you going to modify it? Are you going to pivot? What is pivot? Don't know. You use the Excel spreadsheets? How many of you use Excel? Use Excel? You have a pivot in Excel, right? No? Never use pivot function in Excel? Pivot is just changing direction. So if somebody says that you walk in this direction, but the responses that you got from your customers say, hey, that is not the right path at all, that's not the problem for me to solve. Or that's not the solution that will address the problem. You change direction. Pivot could be walking straight, turning 90 degrees, or turning 180 degrees, or turning 360 degrees, it could be anything. Right? Pivot could also be a hard stop, meaning I'm not going forward. I'll drop everything. That's fairly fast. Okay, so we got some time now. So we're gonna go ahead and get to talk about the other interviews that you guys did between yourselves. Okay? Takeaways from this session. Great interviews ask about the past, not the future. Nobody's saying future. So if somebody is saying something that they will do in the future, great, thanks, keep it with yourselves. Tell me what we've done in the past. Okay? Never pitch. This is not the time to give them your solution. This is the time to find out their solutions, their workarounds, their problems. You're only a listener. Listen 70% of the time. Silence and hesitation are data. So their silence, their hesitation is also a data point. Meaning they are unable to express it right, unable to find what they are doing with it, then that is also a data for you. Surprises and contradictions are more valuable than confirmation. That is exactly why I'm saying that if your responses, if your interviews with the customers brings you surprise, you should be very happy. Because they are telling you something that you were not aware of. So contradictions and surprises are really sought after. Your first 5 conversations cost 0 rupees and start with people you can already reach. Okay? So introductions are better than permissions. Permissions assume that they are spending time with you because they have been asked to spend time. Okay, introductions means that they are willing to spend time because somebody said, hey, this guy wants to have a conversation with you about a problem that every one of us in our society faces. So help him out with some data points. Okay, remember those 4 points when you have your conversations with your potential customers. Okay? So let's talk, since we got some time to spare, let's talk about what you guys have done. You already talked about it, right? Okay. Who is a better entrepreneur? You want to talk? What was your problem statement that you're going to go after?
So most of the students who are staying in hostels are not getting the quality food.
Okay.
So they are facing a lot of problems. They are skipping the meals. Mostly my friends are facing that problem. So they will skip 1 meal per day.
Okay. So what were your questions?
So she said that she's not staying in the hostel. So I asked.
Become an actor, right? This is the best time to become an actor. You're not staying in an hostel, but you can become an actor and play a role. She didn't help you with that? She refused to? Bad customer. Bad actor. So what was your entrepreneurship problem? What did you ask him? Are you a more faster table like a very faster?
So I have answered. I'm a good person.
Yeah, you're a good guy.
I asked him as a farmer what are the products he's selling, not getting fair prices in the market.
So he's a farmer. Okay.
For specific products. Questions I asked him, what are the major difficulties he's facing? So he answered the middlemen who charge more money to get commission what they have charged. So they get lesser prices for their products. What they have invested, they do not get that much money, lesser than that, which even goes in losses sometimes. So still, how often do you face this problem? Almost every year during the cropping season.
Okay. That's it. So here's an interesting thing. Same thing that came up with the arguments, right? Both of you guys feel the middleman is taking away your money.
No, sir.
You didn't say that?
I said a different answer.
Oh, she's making up an answer, but she can't make up that she's a hostler.
She's adding.
Oh, adding her own thing. Hey, that's very bad, huh? Your confirmation bias, your assumptions, you're adding as his responses. Okay, let's get back to this thing. How many of you feel artists, artisans, farmers have a problem with middlemen? Raise your hands. Almost 95% of you feel that middlemen are bad, right? Agree? No? Okay, stay with that. How many of you feel that they are not bad? Middlemen are better? How many of you are like? You can change your answer. You don't think that middlemen are bad. Okay. How many of you believe middlemen are bad? I thought 95% of you raised your hand when I said middlemen are bad. ఆయన చాలా కాన్ఫిడెంట్ గా చెప్పేస్తున్నాడు చెయ్యి ఇంకా పైకి వెళ్తే ఇంకా పైకి పెట్టేస్తాడు ఆయన మిడిల్మెన్ ఆర్ గుడ్ దిస్ లైక్ 50-50 split. Middlemen are necessary. at least necessary.
కానీ ఎక్కువ మంది అంటే they get
You got to pick one. Bad అన్నారు అక్కడ ఉండిపోండి.
యాడ్ అంటే ఒక్కళ్ళు కూడా పర్లేదు సార్. మిడిల్ మ్యాన్ అంటే అక్కడ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది.
Oh, multiple levels అంటున్నారా? Okay, let's say one level. One level of middleman. Yeah, end of the day, farmer will only get one color that they deal with. Okay, why are they good? Let's start with the base. Why are middlemen good? Their entire problem is artisans believe that their profit levels are going down because of middlemen. So in what way are they good?
So they will refine the products which are given by the farmers are little bit messy and some of the stocks will not good. So the middleman will remove all that and they will refine them and it will be good.
Okay. Why are middlemen good?
So they can provide wide market
They can provide
connections.
Wide market.
They want to sell, they can sell in a particular region. But through middleman they can access.
And are they benefiting by that? Because the people who say middlemen are bad, they believe the artisans are not getting their money's worth because of middlemen.
Yes, sir, but they can't reach out, they can reach out only in a particular region or a particular place.
Okay. Good answer. What about others who supported middlemen? For 50% support, I only got two answers.
Probably that's an aspect point, and I agree. But middleman is also like at least in modern days, the middleman a middleman is required. At least it comes to when it comes to rural areas, not urban. Rural areas, most of the middlemen are going to play a major role at least to enhance their customers, like also their crop is still the crop, whatever still. So yes, they at least to enlarge their whatever they have.
Okay. Any more responses? You saying good?
Thank you.
Why are they good?
Thanks. The middleman will give up their time for the
Okay. Middleman what?
they spend their time for the cost difference. They are they are buying from farmers and selling to customers. If there is only one level, if farmers were to sell their products directly to the customers, they can't necessarily work throughout the day in the farms. They can't produce better.
So they are offering a valuable service, right? Now let's move on to people who said middlemen are bad. Why are they bad? You can start.
If there are multiple middlemen, like if we take crops, if there are farmers are from rural areas, the first middleman will take the crops and transport them to urban areas. There will be another middleman. He will transport them to like right bazaars and retailers. And those in right bazaars there will be some other vendors selling them, and in retail for vegetable shop there will be.
So he is going to get a very small cut of the final price.
Yes.
Okay. Why are middlemen bad?
So in some cases, middlemen will provide more business to the local market, people who are willing to sell. But
Right.
at the same time, they also obstruct the business to these people for their own cuts.
Okay. What are the reasons? Why are they bad? చెప్పండి.
Sir, they will store the vegetables or else fruits, and they to look fresh, they will add some chemicals and all, and then they will sell it in a high price.
మీరు కస్టమర్కి బ్యాడ్ చెప్తున్నారు, మేము ప్రొడ్యూసర్కి బ్యాడ్ ఏంటో చెప్పండి. and a farmer, artisans, why is it bad for them? You're talking about the customer perspective.
They can never expand their business by staying on the same street, the same middleman.
They can never expand the business because they are forced to sell to the same middleman.
In the situation, they are only forced to do business with only one person.
So looks like the consensus is you can't live without them, but neither can you live with them. Right? You can't live without them, but you can't live with them either.
So as an entrepreneur, what we can do regarding the farmers is we can set up corporations where we can bring multiple farmers, small scale farmers, set up a corporation and make them reach their own customers without any middleman.
So the corporate is the middleman.
But they are the corporate, they are coming together.
So let's take the example of farmers. Okay, that's the biggest number of people, right? The large body. Despite the knowledge of all this, which is not getting the best price for their produce, they would still want to sell through middlemen. Agree? Why? Hmm? What?
Same time they can sell more to the middle.
No, the biggest thing is convenience. The farmer does what is best at, which is, produce crops, produce. He is not bothered about how to sell, where to take it. All these things are things that he is not good at. The middleman, he likes the middleman because the middleman comes to his farm, picks up the goods and then gives him money. Right? The farmer doesn't want to do anything that he is not an expert at. So middlemen offer a very, very essential service to farmers. Everybody is an expert in farming. They don't have the skills to sell the produce. So what most of us have in the back of our mind is make sure it's a fair game. Where the farmers are not taken for a ride, which is where the whole bad thing about middlemen comes. Okay, the fair game is like $100 per kilo and they only get 10 rupees per kilo, that's the unfairness. But then you also need to recognize that the middleman, like he came up with, the farmer gives a poor quality produce for $100. The middleman grades it, and end of the day is only able to sell like 50% of the goods, and he gets $200. Where is the unfairness in it? He is losing 50% because they are bad. They cannot be sold, or they have to be sold at a lower price. If people only focus on the $200 he's getting and not the loss, then it's not fair on the middleman, right? They are taking up loss. The coconuts, they sell it for what? 5 rupees, 2 rupees, the farmer. But in what condition? You know how coconuts are sold by the farmer? The middleman comes, looks at all the coconut trees and says, I'll pay you $2. I'll pay you $5. That's it. The farmer is fine. The middleman comes, takes everything from the tree and then pays it. Small, big, medium, doesn't matter. He pays one flat price. From there, this guy needs to transport it to another center for wholesale. Finally, at the customer level, we end up paying $60, $50. But then there's a risk being taken by these guys. Now, when this guy agrees to 2 or 5 rupees on the tree, if we get it strong, he still ends up paying that money because he agreed to pick up that goods. If there is no storm or if there's bountiful rains and the size grows, instead of 60 bucks, we end up paying 80 bucks, he gets that profit. The farmer only gets that fixed price. So middleman is taking a lot of risk. The farmer is getting a lot of convenience and consistent revenue. What happens is what he said. If there are multiple middlemen and the farmer only sees the last price being sold to the customer, which is again where the coconut price is, where is 2 bucks, where is 60 bucks, right? If people look at it simplistically at 2 rupees and 60 bucks and ignore everything in the middle, the risks in the middle, then it seems like an unfair. But traditionally, middlemen have been fulfilling a very important need of the society. Now we looked at the pharma context, right? What do you think a stock exchange is? The farmers are all the companies. The coconuts are the shares. Buyers are us again. Whether it's coconut or stock. What is the stock market? It's the middleman. He is creating the platform for exchange. So why are people not happy about a stock exchange? Stock exchange make money no matter whether you lose money or make money. They make money both ways. Right? So everywhere in the society there are aggregators that make things simple. Look at Amazon. He's a middleman again, right? He's bringing all the buyers, all the sellers together. He's the middleman. He's connecting both. He's making money no matter what. The seller is not getting. You're talking about e-commerce for the artisans, right? So you're replacing one middleman with another middleman. You can do away with middlemen, except the difference may be the fairness of it, right? And there is only one level of middleman, what he was alluding to. So a buyer, a seller comes there, offers his wares at some price. A buyer is directly buying goods from them. There's only one Amazon in the middle, who takes a cut for making sure they enable the sale versus multiple levels of middlemen. So that's the thing. So you cannot do away with middlemen. You can make sure there's a fair game for everybody. Okay? So let's look at another example. Everywhere in the world, at every level, at the world scale also, there are middlemen exchanges. We just talked about stock market, energy exchange. How many of you guys have heard about it? Let's take an example of just India, right? They are power producers. Power producers could be private producers, solar. They could be renewable like hydroelectric plants. They could be thermal like state, or again private part. They are in different parts of the country. So how do you sell your energy? Somebody in say Araku needs power, but the surplus is in Rajasthan. How do you buy power? Unless there is an exchange. There is an exchange. You go and say that I have surplus power that I can supply. There will be a customer who says I am short in supply, I need power. They go to the exchange, they agree on a price, they buy power. Who is the middleman? The distribution companies. Somebody needs to wheel the power from Rajasthan to Araku. In effect, that won't happen. They'll exchange close by. Okay, so there is a middleman game in everything that we see around us. You just need to dig deeper and find out if it's a fair, equitable process. Okay, we just picked up on this example because to give you guys an insight that what seems unfair may be a necessary part of the business equation. Amazon and Flipkart just did that. Yeah. integrating the buyers and sellers with just one step in the middle instead of multiple steps. Otherwise, what used to happen when we had no e-commerce? First thing, we couldn't buy all the goods that we wanted. That is why when we went shopping to metros, we used to carry huge bags. Right? Now nobody carries huge bags when you go to a metro. In fact, the shopping has stopped. You want goods delivered at home instead of you carrying them. And the Mundu, if you are living in Vizag and we went to say Delhi or Mumbai, you had a list of goods that you wanted to buy in Mumbai or Delhi because you couldn't find those goods here. E-commerce makes sure that you can buy goods from anywhere in the world at a click of a button. Right? So that was a necessary part of the business equation. So you could find similar things when you pick your problem statements. So don't rule out with your confirmation bias that it is bad. Your objective in questions, your objective in questions is to find out more, not confirm what you already know. Confirm what you know can happen naturally, but that is not the purpose. The purpose should be find out something that you weren't aware of. Okay? Put your place. So if you have any questions, please ask me or go ask the 5 customers. And be more interactive. You know, there are only 3 more sessions left in this entire program. Make sure by the end of at least by the end, if not the next session, please talk. Alright? Thank you.
This